Morning, Northeast. So, if you remember from last week, when we were all standing, we would put a hand up. Come on, y'all have to put a hand. I told you we were going to start to do something different. Put a hand up. Then I forget what it was. It was a jump out, right? And it was this and something. Anyway, those worn out already. You weren't here last week, were you? No, so you missed out on that. We're going to do calisthenics every single morning when we start. If you will, please join me in the pledge of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now you may be seated. I see Vicki is ready. She's going to announce our guests and visiting Rotarians. And Vicki, come up here. You need to use some mic. There are people out there on Zoom that want to hear who's here. We are going to talk stunts and work it out.
Thank you. Okay, we have with us this morning Katie Martini, who is an attorney and family attorney in York. And we have Amy Jansky as a wonderful speaker. I hadn't seen her in 10 years. It's a thrill to see her again. And, and we have a baby. Diana's little baby, Adriana's here. And 5 weeks, 6 weeks? Fine, okay. Well, welcome everybody. We're so happy you're here. Thank you.
Thanks, Vicki, and welcome to Kate, who's here from the Downtown Club. She's actually visiting from the Downtown Club, so welcome, Kate. It's great to have you here. Amy, we look forward to your presentation, and Diana had asked me if it would be okay to bring her newborn in here, and I said I think it would be wonderful, although everybody would be gushing over the young baby. So I'm glad you did it, Diana. You're more than welcome to bring her back at any time, because I don't hear any fussing as of yet. So she has her under control. So welcome. Let's give another warm welcome to our visitors. Diane, I see that you're back there ready for our 50-50.
The last three numbers are 360.
360. Bob Elster. So now that we've gotten through 50-50, do we have any happy dollars? Hold on, Blair. Chris, no? Who wants to go first? I don't care.
I have 2 happy dollars because on Sunday I celebrated my 45th wedding anniversary. I thought that was pretty good.
Congratulations. Blair?
I have a couple here. I have a few bucks in my hand here. The first dollar is for my daughter Meredith, who turns 39 today, July 9th. And then my lovely wife Susan, who's ageless, also has a birthday today, July 9th. So the Hallmark has done well this month by us. $5 for a guy named Willis Carrier. Anybody have an idea what Willis Carrier is famous for? He invented air conditioning in 1902. Something I've done without for a week now. As I was smart, the house was finally down to 74 degrees after hovering at 85 to 90 a lot of last week. So a lot of the restaurants got lunch and business from us all last week. Family members had a party Saturday, including full time, so we had some reprieve, but Rose got some fan business. It's been a heck of a week, but we're back.
These modern amenities that we have, isn't it amazing how much more comfortable they make us feel? Friedel? I'll come to you. No.
true friend. But we suddenly have 25 happy dollars because Bob won the ticket. And so that means $5 for Greg being our president. It's only 50 weeks to go now. You
Okay,
know
thank
that.
you, thank you.
That's $5 for $5 for Elizabeth for having put up with us through all the messes we've had and all the highlights and the lowlights. Thank you, Elizabeth. For the AV team, you get it in one bunch.
Go ahead.
For the AV team for doing the best they can, and it's always wonderful to be on the receiving end. For the newest Rotarian, 5 weeks old, we never had one that age in this club. So that's another $5. And then, of course, Bob wants me to say that I'm going to be 77 this week. So, no, he didn't want, I didn't want you to say I'm 77. We always got it right. I'm not supposed, I didn't want to tell you I'm 77, so that's it. And the rest of the $5 is for Bob again. He's such a wonderful husband. So here are $25, and that's all for today.
Must be birthday month because here's some dollars. My wife's birthday is today. My granddaughter's birthday is today, so Maggie has stopped having birthdays. And then my grandson's birthday is the end of the month.
Wow, wow, amazing. Anyone else? I'll tell you what, if this happy dollar stuff keeps going on, we may not have to have a fundraiser this year. It's been 2 very good, strong weeks in happy dollars. So thank you all for sharing good news. I think it's good. I think our club members like to hear about some other things that are going on in everybody's life. And our happy dollars are a time to be able to share that information. So it's good to hear. I know we have a few announcements. Before we get into those, I just want to make everybody aware that tomorrow morning we have a board meeting. So anyone that would like to attend can do so. It's at 7:30 at the York Area United Fire something or other out in East York. Fire, yeah. So 7:30 tomorrow morning is that board meeting. And I'll throw this out because I just happened to catch Wendy in the back. For any of our board members, Wendy will not be able to be in attendance, so we're going to need somebody to take notes tomorrow morning. So if there's somebody that has the itch to do that, let me know. But just be aware, somebody's going to get recruited, and it's not going to be me. So anyway, other announcements. I know some people had announcements that they wanted to make. Tim, you want to go first?
I see Karen's not here this morning. And so Andy has put together a design for a billboard for our golf tournament promotion. And the assignment of that has not happened yet, but as soon as I'm made aware of that, I'll tell everyone. Plus, she's also designed a poster for the golf tournament. I have about 20 of them up front. Anyone who has a business or friends with a business or goes to a golf course all the time and they're willing to post it for us, please take a copy and post it. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Are they posting it here in their post shop? I will make sure of that today.
Any other announcements that need to be made? None? Okay. If not, either Bob or Friedel, you're gonna let's do this again.
Should I come there?
No,
I don't. Oh, that's wonderful. But I have to get up. And Bob says I have to clip this on because I'm not heard otherwise, which is normally not my problem. Anyway, just one announcement on a very personal level, which I want to share with you. You may have read about the horrific bombing in Kiev at the Children's Cancer Hospital. And some of you may remember the speaker we had about 2.5 years ago, a very dear friend of mine, my editor actually in Germany. Her best friend is a pediatric surgeon at the Kiev hospital that has just been bombed. And I've heard from from her, that he's okay. There's horrific damage. There's absolute carnage over there. But he's part of the hospital, which actually the President Zelensky has just visited, and there was a big televised report about that. Has not been hurt, but he has now an absolute overflow on additionally hurt children. And he said it's absolutely horrific what is going on there. So he has just come in 1 hour, 30 more children in his cancer unit, and he was in the middle of surgery when it happened. So it's a tragedy for everybody there. And I think the world has become numb to what's going on in Kiev because we hear it all the time, but when it becomes personal like this, it's a different story altogether. So anyway, that I wanted to share with you. He is fine and he sends his greetings, and they are now up to here with work and problems. However, this morning I have the great honor to, hello Connie, I didn't even see my dear friend. The very great honor to introduce Amy Jansky. Well, there is some special person that is needed to deal with death. And there are not many in this world who can do it. And I have to say, we all, when we have a brush with death, we come out of the experience changed in many ways. And I remember having learned so much from my beautiful mother, my best friend for 50 years. And before she died, she said to me, darling, make sure they don't put the casket lid on too soon, because I don't want to be gone just yet. And so I gave it a lot of thought. A lot means about 5 minutes after that conversation. And I looked up the law in Germany, and it said that a corpse can be kept in situ wherever it is, if the circumstances are right, until 24 hours before the funeral. Right. So I didn't tell her that, because she would see it when it happened. And a few days later, when she died, of course, I prepared her. I did everything that I possibly could for her, and then invited everyone who was close to her to visit her. And it was an absolute wonderful feeling. And I kept her for several days. And it was so beautiful that everybody said, I can't believe this is happening. And if your circumstances are right. However, I did the same with my husband when he died in Nairobi. And it was in Nairobi, it was unheard of. You can't possibly do that. And when the undertaker came, I said, you can go and come back in 2 days' time. And he said, you're not serious. I said, when I say so, I'm very serious. And I prepared my husband, and we had 800 roses in the room. And I, of course, being him, my dear friend Heidi, who was with me at the time, she said, shall we make some coffee for everybody who comes? I said, no, we'll have champagne. So I put a glass of champagne into his hand, and everybody who came to visit him had all the time they needed with him. They sat with him, they talked with him, they cried with him, and they all had a glass of champagne, and so did he. And I have a photo here, which I would like to share with you, which is just one of the best memories that I have of the time thereafter, because you can do it in the most dignified way. He wanted to die like a king. Well, I made sure he did. And it was an experience second to none. However, what comes afterwards is a totally different matter, but you can deal with the grief in a different way if you know you've done the most for the person who has died. So now, doing that on a professional side needs a very different personality. It needs empathy. It needs a lot of caring. It needs to understand people's emotions. And when I was involved in hospice, actually, from the moment when I arrived here in York, I started there, and we were just a sort of very dedicated group of ladies who were absolutely dead set on getting this done. And nobody really wanted a hospice because, oh, we don't need it, it's not necessary. There was a lot of opposition. But those ladies were so dedicated. One drew this emblem that we have, the logo for Pappus House. And I'm sure Amy will tell us how this came about. And that was Michelle Sievert. And she was very, very upfront in the group. And we had another lady who was Beth Gail McDonald. She has been here to talk to us about Pappus House when it was way, way, way back. a little place with a tiny offering of beds. So then I remember in 2017, we were desperately looking for the one person who could actually pull this off. And it seemed impossible, 3 pages of requirements that this person should have. And when I look at it nowadays, I can't believe that this person really existed. And then along came Amy. And Amy is actually predestined for this job because I've seen her in action. I've seen what she does. She has groups of people coming long after their relatives or friends have died at the hospice, and they have a little get together with those who have lost their loved ones there. I mean, what she created there can only mean that you were a godsend to this organization. You have pulled it off from nothing, no beds at all. We didn't have a hospice when you came, to first a little hospice of 3 beds and now an 8-bed facility. And it is magic. When you walk through it, you might choke on certain things because there is an entrance for the residents who come in, and there's a special entrance for everybody when they leave. It really makes you think of what has gone into this, into intellectual power into creating this institution. So, Amy, I should say something about you, what you've done. And Amy is the first executive director of Pappus House because we didn't have one before. She is a native of York County, graduated from Southern York County School District, and she attended Penn State University for her bachelor degree in communications. She worked on various political campaigns. Well, how did we get you away from politics?
That was easy.
Good. And while attending Penn State for a graduate degree, she completed her master's degree in American Studies in 2003. Pull this apart. Amy then took her fundraising abilities to a nonprofit sector, working with the Girl Scouts and then Junior Achievement. She was hired as the first official executive director of Pappus House in 2018, just after I left. And I left only because I couldn't hear anymore. So that's the reason why I leave everywhere. Amy resides in Spring Grove with her husband, twin boys, and many beloved pets. In her spare time, Amy rescues special needs dogs, cats, and volunteers with Find Toby. Now, you have certainly gone into special needs creatures, however many legs they have. So thank you, Amy, for doing what you're doing so well, and thank you for sharing it with us today.
Wow, I don't know if I can follow that. That was lovely. Thank you. Let me see if I can clip this on. Can y'all hear me okay? Okay. Thank you all so much for inviting me here today. It's been lovely to reconnect with people, and I have to give a shout out to Roger and tell you that in addition to my little zoo of dogs that I had back when I knew you 10 years ago, I have tortoises now. So Victoria will have to tell you all about that. So 10 years ago, if you had told me that I would be involved in hospice, I wouldn't have believed you. That was my first exposure into hospice. My grandparents at the time were both in their mid-90s, and we put them on hospice. And hospice was a dirty word to us. We weren't actually even permitted to say it in my grandparents' house. It was scary. It meant the end. So it wasn't a real great experience for us emotionally. They both ended up passing away in the hospital. And so they both had traumatic endings. And so again, I never would have thought that here I would be, 10 years later, talking to you all about hospice. At the same time back then, as Friedel explained, I was caring for special needs animals. And that kind of came to me by coincidence as well. but I vowed to keep, they were English bulldogs, and I vowed to keep them at home with me and comfortable as possible. And I had lost one in a animal ER, and it was traumatic. And so I thought, I don't ever want to experience that again. It was a traumatic ending for me. I felt it was a traumatic ending for my animal. And so all of the animals after that came to me, I vowed that they would pass in our home. So fast forward to 2018, and I was at Junior Achievement at the time, and I was thinking about, making a career change, and was posting some animals on Facebook and came across an ad for Pappus House and fell in love with the mission. And I thought, wow, if this had existed 10 years prior, or at that time, 5 years prior, when my grandparents were in need, what a blessing that would have been to our family. And so immediately I knew that I needed to learn more and I needed to get involved. And I thought, wow, I have no medical background. So how could I possibly make this transition? Well, thankfully, the founders took a gamble on me and my experience and my fundraising background. And I was hired in 2018 as the executive director. And it's been life-changing, truly. And it's a job that I take very, very seriously in terms of, it was a beloved passion of so many people, as you heard Friedel explain. And for me to be able to head that up has been a true honor for me. So if you could change, yeah. Please, Bob. It's okay. Just the first one. Maybe just can you hit the space bar? What you'll see on the first slide is a picture of the milkweed plant, and our name is Pappus House, and it's Pappus. The pappus is the white part of the milkweed plant, kind of akin to the dandelion, when you blow the dandelion seeds away and they land to new destinations. So the pappus is that part of the milkweed plant that blows the milkweed seed to new destinations. So it's a symbolic name. And of course, the milkweed plant is food for the monarch butterfly, and the monarch butterfly is, of course, a very symbolic image for hospice. It's okay. So we began in a very humble 3-bedroom home over on Cherry Street in Spry. John and Maria Pauley owned that property over there, and they graciously rented the 3-bedroom ranch house to us. And from there, we were able to test our mission, and we were able to see if this model of care, which was unheard of actually in the state in its entirety, would be embraced in York County. And so we got started there. It was a small ranch style house, very small doorways, very small hallways, but we managed to call that home for over 200 and about 205 individuals and their families in 6 years of operations. And so it really allowed us to establish our roots, not only as a medical provider or medical institution in York County, but also as a nonprofit in the community, and make sure that our model was going to be embraced and financially supported as well. So
Go ahead and go.
Are you sure? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. No, you're all good.
So we've been asking for people to join the AV group. Don't take this as a negative